This is hardly the first time, as Trace just pointed out, that we've seen these protesters go to extremes to get their message across. Last Thursday in California, nearly 20 people were arrested. Some 5 police cars were smashed, as Trace mentioned, and one Trump supporter was bloodied during these so-called demonstrations, leading one writer to wonder how it would be covered if conservatives were doing the same thing at Clinton or Sanders rallies. What would that be like and how would that be covered, which is always the fair question to ask in these situations. Mark Thiessen is a Fox News contributor and former chief speechwriter for President George W. Bush. Andel Brown is a civil rights attorney. Welcome to both of you, gentlemen. Good to have you here tonight. Good to be with you, Martha. So, Andel, let me start with you. You know, if you were seeing this kind of thing, if, you know, a Clinton supporter or a Bernie Sanders supporter was wearing a Bernie Sanders T-shirt and had blood pouring down his face because somebody bashed him in the face, how do you believe that that would be covered if it was, you know, conservative activists who were doing it?
We've seen protesters at both Sanders and Clinton rallies, but the same type of violence that follows the Donald Trump rallies has not ensued. The common denominator is Trump and his supporters.
No, but my question is...
We haven't had the same thing on the other side.
My question is, you have to put the shoe on the other foot, and you have to ask yourself, is it fair? Is it fair to say that this kind of behavior is wrong, that it's you know, un-American? I mean, protesting is absolutely the right thing to do if you want to exercise your right to freedom of speech. But, you know, this kind of destructive behavior is just not allowed.
Which I read, I thought to myself, can I get some crackers and cheese to go with all this wine? I mean, I would expect the people on the right to come with a little bit more than calling these protests and demonstrations riots. I mean, we see more action during spring break on South Beach. We had 52 arrests. That's more than all of these events combined.
You're okay with injured police officers and police vehicles that have been smashed, and you think that's perfectly, it's fine. Nobody should be disturbed.
I'm not saying it's fine, but let's not blow it out of proportion and call it a riot.
Well, we're just calling it what it is. We named exactly how many arrests happened and what the destruction was, and we're getting you guys to come on it and, you know, discuss it. So let me bring in Mark Thiessen, who I think believes that this was actually beneficial in some way to the Trump campaign. Mark, explain.
Well, it is beneficial to the Trump campaign, but first of all, you said that it was the common denominator was Trump protesters. That guy that we just saw jumping on a police car is not a Trump protester. The people who were throwing rocks at motorists were not Trump supporters. So this is not the Trump supporters that are doing this. These are the smash mouth tactics of the radical left who are not protesting what Donald Trump said. They're protesting his right to speak. They're trying to stop him from speaking. They tried to go into the hotel and break through, and the police stopped them to stop him from exercising his right to free speech. So you do not see that happening on the right. You do not see Trump supporters going to Clinton and Sanders rallies and hurling rocks and throwing epithets and wearing sombreros and holding up their middle finger at people. This doesn't happen. It's helping Donald Trump because he couldn't have designed a better scene for himself to be standing up against.
Maybe they should take Trump's advice and knock the crap out of one of them. Let me ask you one more time to put the shoe on the other foot. If this were happening at Sanders and Clinton rallies, right, would you be saying, you know, look at these crazy right-wing nut jobs who are running over this you know, peaceful campaign? I don't recall Clinton or Sanders advising their supporters to knock the crap out of someone. I do recall Donald Trump doing that. And when you foster an atmosphere of violence and it follows, you can't be surprised. Everywhere he goes, this violence follows, and it's not happening on the other side.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Go ahead. You want to have one last thought, Mark?
Just the idea that Donald Trump is responsible for people coming in and throwing rocks is just absurd. They're coming into his rallies, disrupting, trying to stop him from speaking. So the people are responding to that. And quite frankly, the Trump protesters have been incredibly restrained because in the face of this violence, they haven't
punching people in the face is incredibly restrained.
So this
that incident was covered on this network and on this show very clearly. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll see where this goes. It's not a good trend out there. Thanks, gentlemen.